Hi, this is Kathy from Texas, and I was asked by Michelle this week to be a guest blogger here on this great channel, Out Late But Great. The reason Michelle contacted me was because my question for the week was selected. The question which I posed during our contest was, if you and your partner are traveling outside the U.S., how do you keep you and your partner safe from being harassed and arrested as an LGBT person? How do you deal with finding out the laws, and how do you keep yourself safe while you're going there? The reason that I posed this question was it is one of the greatest concerns that my wife and I have about traveling outside the U.S. We do not know what the laws are, and even if you look them up online, you do not get a real view of what the transgender laws are and what kind of situation is on the ground. There are two or three things that I think I should point out as being a transgender person that the other LGBT people will not be faced with. First, in the transgender community, there are two different categories. There are the group of people who have had sexual reassignment surgery, which are called post-op. Their genitals have been realigned with their desired image, and there are the pre-op transgenders, which have not had their birth genitals changed in such a way that they match their outside image. This makes a big difference when you travel, because if you still have your birth genitals and they have not been altered by SRS to be the gender that you're portraying, it creates problems when you have to go through any kind of security system. I am a pre-op and have my birth genitals, and Colette, on the other hand, is a post-op and has had her genitals realigned with the image that she wants to portray. So her answers to the questions may be much different than mine. The second thing that creates problems for me and my wife is that about 3 years ago, I had an accident when I was riding my bicycle, severely broke my leg and broke my shoulder. The doctors went in and put a pin in the shoulder, a metal pin in the shoulder, and a metal rod in the leg. That means every time I go through any type of airport security, Homeland Security, or anywhere else, the metal detectors go off because of that metal rod and because of the pin in my shoulder. That immediately gets me pulled out of the line, and either hand-screened by a sensor or being taken in and strip searched, depending on where I am. Now, that is just fine when you're dealing with people who speak your language. Like if I'm flying here in the U.S., I've never had any real problems because I explain that I have a metal rod there, and when they usually just pull me to the side. I also usually explain I'm transgender and that I have my real birth genitals still, and the Homeland Security seems to be understanding to that situation. But now place yourself, if you go like my wife and I would like to Rome, Germany, France, Russia, Israel, where all of a sudden you're placed in a situation where you do not speak the language, you cannot communicate with these people, and you do not know exactly what the law is that you're dealing with. The minute they find that you are a pre-op transsexual and see your birth genitals there when your IDs indicate that you're a female, that is going to trigger you to be what I think is arrested very quickly. And that's why my wife and I are so concerned about traveling outside the U.S. To other destinations. Even though we know that in France they're very liberal about it. Germany, they're a little bit more conservative. Italy, they're about the same as France. Greece, on the other hand, their Supreme Court has overturned the laws, but yet the police still harass anybody who they find is transgender and then force them to prove their point, which is a very, very bad situation if you're transgender and you're traveling and you're in their airport. The even worse scenario is when you go to Israel and to the Middle East, and to Russia, where it is against the law to be transgender. Should they find those male genitals on someone's portraying as a woman, that would immediately take me to jail. So that's a place where I cannot travel. My wife and I would also like to go to Australia, and I was hoping that Maya would produce a video and talk about the laws there. But it is almost, as I understand it, all right for you to travel in Australia. I'd feel much more comfortable in Australia because I speak the language. Now, when it comes to what experiences have I had in traveling, my wife and I have taken a road trip together to Canada. We have passports, we have driver's licenses, we have forms of ID. We pulled up in our car to the checkpoint. They went through and searched our car for firearms like they always do. And then we went up to Calgary and Banff and came back down, and we had no problems re-entering the U.S. We had all the proper paperwork and the passports to get in. No problem. A while back we flew to Cancun for the weekend. Other than the normal hassle at Houston with the Homeland Security and my metal rod, I don't believe in Mexico they even searched or even bothered to deal with me there. The people from the hotel took us back to the airport. We got on the plane and we flew home with no problem. This kind of brings me to my conclusion. The conclusion that I've come to is that I am petrified to fly to a country where I don't understand the language, where I don't understand the customs, and I'm not very sure of the law other than what I've learned on the internet. So I think it would be very unwise for me to go to France and Germany and Italy, Spain, Greece, Russia, or Israel, because I don't speak the language and I don't know the laws and the customs, even though on the internet it says I'm safe to go to France and Germany and to Switzerland and to Central Europe. And once you get there, you can pass from country to country without a passport. I still think that I would have problems in traveling there when I got on the airplane to come back to the U.S., or when I landed and I went through customs and I had to go through the metal detectors that are there. That would start the problem that's there. So if you have some kind of metal plate or bone or knee or something that they have replaced, that adds the problem. My wife's thought that she would like me to portray is that she doesn't think it's worth the chance that we'd take of being put in jail to travel into Central Europe, where we would love to go. Well, I thank you for your time, and I particularly thank Michelle and the other hosts for allowing me to present my point here on this great channel, Out Late But Great, and I hope to see you again sometime. Bye.